Hello, folks. How are we doing? You're always early, George. Right, how do I do this? Hello. How are we doing? So we've only got a couple of minutes and we're going to join in with the 2-minute silence at 11 o'clock. So hopefully everyone is around to join us with that. So who have we got with us? Is it just you, George, at the moment? Hello. No problem. What's everyone been up to? So what we'll do is at 11 o'clock we'll go to the 2-minute silence and then we'll talk and introduce after that rather than introducing beforehand. We're expecting a delivery which is typically going to turn up during the 2-minute silence, I'm guessing. Relaxing and lying in, George. You're supposed to be oh hang on, you're bank holiday, aren't you? You're excused. Is that our delivery?
I don't know. We'll have to see.
Every time, without fail. You're going to break the bunting. It was the delivery. That's our lunch. No. Who else is online? Who have we got? Hello, folks. I'm half off screen because I'm holding Ralph. Excuse me. This is going to be bad timing as we have 40 seconds. You're going to have to run up the stairs. Right, guys, I'm sure you'll all join me in the 2-minute silence with the rest of the country for VE Day. Starting now. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope everyone's got some really big VE Day plans. So, we will introduce and talk about what we're going through today in a moment. If everyone wants to tell me who's here, make sure we've got everyone before we start. It was typical timing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Who have we got? Where is everyone? That's bright. Who else is here? Are we waiting on anyone? So for those that are new, obviously if you can't interact, that's fine, don't worry, we can easily just talk to you and you can shout back at the TV. You know, there is a little bit of interaction involved. But for those of you that can interact, please chat away on YouTube. I can see your comments coming up here. It's nice and easy for me to read your comments when we're doing it on phones, so that makes it better. Still surrounded by, what do you call it, mission control. But this way around does make it a bit simpler because I can actually see things. I don't have to be staring at an iPad the whole time. Well, half the time because my notes are on it. I could do with leaning it up, couldn't I? Ooh, it works. That's better. So, yeah, today's going to be similar to last Friday's episode in that we're going to be talking about phone editing, but doing some slightly different things with it. But again, it's going to be me kind of showing you stuff on the phone as we go along. I think we've got quite a few people here. I think there's a few people who will probably drop in as we go, but we'll make a start anyway because there's quite a lot to get through today. So welcome to the Photography Club. I'm Gavin Rolfe. This is Jenny. Rolfe.
Hi.
And Ralph's asleep under the table. We're Rolfe and Co Photography. So this is our way of doing something while we're in lockdown, doing a bit of a lesson. Hopefully everyone who's on has watched or at least caught up a little bit on last Friday's episode because it actually is the rare episode where that actually helps. Otherwise, if you're new and have a little bit of experience on Lightroom, that will help too. If you have any questions as we go, just ask though. We'll do our best to kind of keep you up to date if that's the case. But as I said, talking about phone editing, or as we're going to call it this week, advanced phone editing. Turn that down a little bit. Is that better? Yeah. Sorry, my mic's a little bit closer when I wear a t-shirt, isn't it? I'm loud, thank you. She's helpful. I've got a small mouth. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about advanced phone editing, so hopefully giving you a little bit of arsenal of skills. So while we went through the basics and the understanding of Lightroom last week, we want to go through something a bit more useful for you day to day. Obviously, we've had everyone's homework in, which has been amazing. Everyone but my sister, but we just have to excuse her. She's my sister. We're not good at homework. We're Rolfs. My mother sent them in, so that's fine. She made up for her. We had some amazing images sent in, really, really good kind of variety of images, but everyone's sort of getting along the same lines, which made it a bit easier for me to kind of research and get the lesson perfect for you guys. So if everyone's ready, I've put everyone's homework into a video that we can all watch together. So if everyone's sorted and ready to go, we will go ahead with that to start with. Now, if that doesn't get you all fired up and dying to go and grab your camera, I don't know what will. So did everyone enjoy that? A bit of excitement, get us all woken up on a Friday morning, get us all pumped, raring to go. How much of a delay am I on? I'm on. Or is everyone just being sleepy? What did everyone think? Did anybody see any themes running through the pictures? Because obviously that's everybody's clumped into one. I haven't put anything in there. That's just everything you guys have picked. Was there any themes as we went through? Anything that anyone noticed? Exactly. No, everyone went to a lot of effort, which is really nice to see. Come on, everyone's on snooze mode this morning. I feel like I should do some workout stuff to get everyone pumped before we start. Sorry, mine delays a little bit. Jen, you've got it. Yeah, I agree, Emma. There was kind of quite common things. I think everyone kind of picked very similar things or a few similar things. So it was just really interesting that obviously many people are looking for similar things. I will mention actually before we go on, a couple of people have mentioned to me about selective colour, which is where we pick. So I think that one of them was the lily, where it's colours picked out in an image. It's not something we're going to cover. A couple of reasons. Firstly, it's very difficult to do well on a phone. It's something that for me requires Photoshop and brushing in manually by hand and getting things perfect. We've also found it's something that's been quite overdone. So as a brand, as Roll from Co Photography, we steer away from it just because it's something that's been around quite a long time and quite overdone. So we don't want to kind of go back and do that. So we're trying to create new, basically. But yeah, it's more something that's easier, bit more efficient to do in Photoshop. Yeah, drama and atmospheric. Yeah, I agree. That was another definite theme as well. I'll show you the kind of themes I kind of picked out of it. I picked 4 main themes from that. So we've got, I'm going to move me off screen for a second. So the first one, top left, yeah, dramatic, kind of vibrant, punchy, something, yeah, with that kind of little bit of kind of oomph to it, something that kind of really show off something. So obviously with a landscape, that was great. Second one was the black and white. So again, quite kind of harsh, sharp, contrasty black and white. I noticed quite a lot of people picking something with, again, a bit of kind of mood to it. The third one, bottom left, yeah, a bit more of a vintagey kind of retro atmosphere. And then the fourth one, there's a few people picking out pictures of people, so I thought we could look at things that works better on people, because obviously, you know, we could do something which is really punchy and makes everything really vibrant, but it might not work so well on people. So these are the kind of 4 themes I've picked out, and we're going to create a preset on Lightroom for each of these 4 things. Let's bring me back up just for a second anyway. Does that make sense? Does that kind of cover everything for everyone? Does that make sense? Or has anyone got any questions before we begin? I just realised, where's your mum? She's not on. That makes sense to everyone. Good. I've just not seen her say hello, that was all. Okay. Yeah, so hopefully this should give you 4 kind of very different presets. I'm going to talk you through them. There's quite a lot of, we're going to be introducing a couple of new things in this, as well as going over some ideas we've already talked about as well. So it should hopefully give you a good variety of things to look at anyway. Right, if that's okay, I'm going to keep going because we've got quite a lot to cover. If anybody wants me to go back and show them something, I've written all this down so I can kind of bring it back up for you as well at any point. So if we shift to the 2-camera view, obviously this is how we did it last week, so hopefully this worked for everyone. On the left you have my Lightroom screen, so you can see exactly what we're doing, and it'll give you a bit of a better view of it. And on the right we have my hands, so you can see what I'm pressing on. And if you want to see the left screen a little bit closer, just shout to me, and I'm sure I can do this. Let's go to my big face for a second. And there is a way to do this. Or not. No, we're stuck like that. Okay, right then. Let's carry on. So what I've done is I've named each one of these. I'll show you very quickly on screen actually what we're the 4 styles I've picked out for you, just so you can see everything. Let's go to that full screen for you. So picked 4 themes we've gone with. No problem, George, that's absolutely fine. You Lightroom away, we know you're there. So we have Punchy Dramatic one. So we're going to name this after, these are all named after 4 of our holidays, so we're just naming them after the pictures I've used to test it on. So this one's going to be called Amalfi, so named after the Amalfi Coast. This one is our black and white one, so we've got before and after, so before on the left, after on the right. This one's going to be called New York. We have our vintagey, kind of pastel-y kind of feel to it, a bit more retro. This one's going to be called Dubrovnik. And then the final one is going to be one that works best with people, so we're just going to call this People. So as I'm going to name these as we save them on Lightroom. I'm going to save them as, so the first one when we go to it will be Amalfi in brackets Rolf. So everyone's got their names the same, so if you want to compare which preset you've used on your picture, it's easy to do, and we've all got the same settings on them, so that's a nice easy way to keep consistent. Right, let's go to those 2 screens and have a look at the first one. So this is the Amalfi one we are looking at first of all. So I'm going to import that picture wherever it's gone. Amalfi, ignore the selfies of me and Ralph because, there we go, I left settings on here, haven't I? Right, I'm going to reset it, so I'm going to start from scratch. So here we have it beforehand. So the first thing I'm going to do, this is going to be the same settings on every single picture, which is going to be optics here. We're going to turn both of these on. Now these we didn't talk about last week. These are just 2 very basic settings that do a little bit of automatic things for you, and they just correct some things that your camera does very slightly wrong. Some cameras will do less than others, but it's just going to even things out and make sure we're happy with them. So we're going to keep both of these on, and this is on every single one. The other thing we're going to do the same on every single one is our sharpening, and we're just going to have it at 40 and 1. So that's the same on every single one. So that's nice and easy to remember. But I just thought if we keep that consistent, most of the other things are going to change. So first of all, is everybody following along? We're going to go to our exposure settings. We're going to do exposure to do plus 0.3. And we're going to do highlights to minus 40. Shadows to plus 40. So this is just giving us a bit more detail in the shadows and highlights. So just looking in down here, we're just getting a bit more information on the buildings. Just covering everything a little bit. Wonderful. Our whites are going to be plus 50. So this is where we're going to get that real contrasty look. And blacks plus 50. Can drop it on the white ones here. Now it's close enough. Wonderful. We're now going to move, has everybody got that? So we've got plus 0.3, minus 40, plus 40, plus 50, minus 50. So hopefully everyone can see that on the left and is following along okay. So Zoe, you're going to, on here, optics button, the little lens, making sure both of these are turned on. And then we're going to the sharpening button, the triangle, and just making sure sharpening's at 40. then exposure, which I think everybody's caught up with there. Then we're going to go, so the thing that changes with every single one, it's going to vary by your image. Exposure might be different. The others should be quite similar. You might need to change this based on your image. The other thing we're going to do is, it depends on your image, but a white balance might be necessary. Ours is actually fine, so I'm not going to change that. But some of your images might need you just to take your little white balance tool and drop it on something neutral. So we can put it just there. There we go. That shows it was already pretty much right. So we're next going to move down to that vibrance setting on the colour there, and that vibrance is going to go up to +30. So we talked about last week, some of these settings we don't want to push too far, we don't want to make things look a little bit too false or get the quality going bad. So this one is probably pushing things the most out of all the ones we looked at. So we've done the +30 on vibrance. We're now going to move down to those effects just here. So that's your little kind of square with your corners on it. So on this one, we're going to do -30 on texture. And then we're going to do clarity as +40. So the texture just means this clarity isn't being quite so damaging to the image. But if we have a look, before and after, we can see what it's doing. Works great on things like kind of sunny pictures, so perfect for a nice sunny bank holiday weekend. Our dehaze is going to go to +25. There we go, and our vignette's going to be -20. When I'm doing vignette, I always do my feather all the way up to 100, just because it makes it look a bit more natural. Right, has everybody got that? That should be all of our settings for that, and then in a moment we're going to save that preset together. I'll give you just a second so you can see that last page.
Does everyone know how to do the before and after?
I don't know whether we covered this last week. That's a good point, Jen. The before and after. So there's two things that are quite useful for looking at a picture on your screen. If you just tap once, it's going to hide all your controls, so you can see it full screen. If you then tap and hold, it'll show you before and after. So we can see exactly what's happening. So we can hide, show, before and after. Just so you can see what's happening, and that works zoomed in as well. So like I was doing before. Oh, that's a little soft. Let's go around here. What's this town called, Jen? There's a P in there. Oh, never mind anyway. I'm having a slow brain morning.
I'll see.
Right, hopefully everybody is caught up there. And we're just going to save this now. So first of all, we're going to save the preset. So we're going to use the ... I'm going to click Create Preset. And we're going to call it Amalfi. So hopefully everyone's going to do the same for me here, just so that we all know which one's which. So we're going to write Amalfi in brackets Rolf, so you know it comes from Rolf and Co-Photography. Then obviously we can all just click tick. There we go, and we've added a preset. Sharpening screen again, of course I can, Sally. Here we go. Sharpening, we're going to do the same on every single one here. You shouldn't need more than that from your pictures. Unfortunately, no, there is no way of getting a more accurate, as the slider is a bit of a pain. Yeah, you just have to kind of push with your finger and try and be accurate. At the end of the day, if it's within 2 or 3, it's not going to be that different. It's not going to be a huge jump. Try and get it as close as possible to what I've said. Hopefully you've caught up there, Sally, with that. I'm going to save the picture as well, so we're just going to export to camera roll. So that was the little share button. Wait, little share button, export to camera roll. So it's saved. Positano, thank you, that's the one. No, Portofino is the one in the northwest. That's what I keep getting in my head, it's Positano. Right, so that is our first one. So this gives us this really nice vibrant one. This is going to work really well on things like sunsets, landscapes, bit of sun and sea, as we can see from that one, is perfect for it. Something with a lot of colour in there, so for your V-Day celebrations, when you've got the Union Jacks everywhere, this should work really, really well. There is a danger on pictures of people that this is going to look a little bit strange on someone's face. Sometimes some of the controls we use there can be a little bit unflattering, so this is the reason I've done a kind of particularly a softer person one at the end. But try it, see what you think, have a look, you know, make sure it hasn't made someone look all red and blotchy in the skin or anything like that, because it is a danger. Right, we've done that one, so we're just going to press the back arrow and we're going to add a new picture. So the next one we're going to do, I'll just show you it on screen again. So we finished our Amalfi one. Hopefully somebody's got something very similar on whatever picture they decided to go with. I don't mind what you're trying it on. The next one is New York. So this is a black and white one. I know everybody sent in at least one black and white picture, so it's a perfect one to be looking at. I find black and whites tend to work really well with really strong shapes, so thinking about our shape round, but also obviously, you know, I mean, this image has got shape and rule of thirds very well in it, so it's a good one to look at. And black and white tends to enhance things like shapes because it draws your attention to those and you lose the distractions of colours. So we're gonna, I'll go back to Lightroom and we're gonna import my picture of New York. It's a big fat crazy picture of New York. So is everybody ready to keep going? As I said, we're packing in quite a lot quite quickly here, so hopefully everybody's keeping up and these settings are making sense. So we're going to do the first things that we did on the other one, which is our optics, both on. Some things are on here for some reason. Hang on, let me just reset all my settings so that everyone's the same. Okay, so optics, we're going to put them both on. Sharpening 40 on 1. And this is quite a simple one, very little additional stuff to do here. So we're going to go to here first of all. So we're going to change our exposure to plus 0.5. So it's quite a big jump in exposure. We're doing a whole half a stop in exposure. But obviously something that worked about this image is actually not having detail in the sky and making it just plain white so that those buildings stand out. So we're going to 0.5 on there. Our whites are going to plus 70. So same thing, we're killing all those whites just to give that really harsh look to it. And our blacks are going to minus 65. This is about as far as I'll ever tell you to go on either of those settings. Now we're going to drop down to our colour settings and turn it to black and white. Then finally, we're going to go to our effect screen and we're going to do clarity plus 35. And that is everything on that one. So I'm not doing any cropping or anything like that. I'm just showing you these settings. The crop is obviously going to be different per image, but hopefully this gives you the idea anyway. So I'll just give you a second to all catch up on that. If I bring those settings back up, so we had clarity at plus 35. We pressed the black and white button. And then we pressed on exposure plus 0.5. Whites plus 70, blacks minus 65. So I'm going to export that to camera roll. And I'm going to, well, I'll give you a second and we'll create the preset together again. So I'm guessing a couple of you will be looking at this on iPad. Hopefully these settings are all making sense. They are very similarly laid out, just very slightly different. Alright, so once we've done that, we're pressing the dot dot dot. We're clicking create preset. And we're going to call this one New York. The fun thing is we're getting you guys to type this. It's the next one we're really going to test your spelling on. And mine. So, New York, in brackets, Rolf. Hopefully this will mean when you've got a library of 20 odd presets in there, you can remember which were the 4 original ones we did together so that it's easy to spot them because they're all going to have Rolf in brackets afterwards. Make sure you're capitalising those words, that bugged me otherwise. There we go, so everything else should be left the same. We're just ticking that box. There we go. just going to put that on screen and just show you before and after now. So as you can see, so before and after, it's a much stronger image after. It's just really simplifying things, making it a lot easier to look at. I'll bring it up over on the Keynote for a second for everyone, so you can see that before and after. What does everyone think? Optics button on iPad, let me just have a look for you. There is one. It's called Lens Corrections, I think. Oh no, there's an optics one. If you click on there should be kind of a set of 3 sliders on the top right if you're in landscape mode. Then it lists optics. It's the second to bottom one, the one above geometry. Click on optics and remove CA and enable lens correction. So you just want to click on both of those. Right, I hope I haven't gone too fast there. Everyone's caught up. I did say we're packing quite a lot of information in, but it's quite boring information. So hopefully, while it's boring, it's going to benefit everyone in the long run. Hopefully everyone's got that. So we're going to move on to the next one, which we're going to call Dubrovnik, because that is the city of Dubrovnik in the background. So lots of people picked out something quite retro, quite vintagey. I mean, the one we had, if I just jump back, the really great one Dom sent in of the suspension bridge, just that slightly washed out pastel-y kind of feel. Now, obviously different pictures are going to work in different ways on this. So while that one's lots of blues and pinks and things like that, one I've chosen is a lot more kind of oranges and yellows with blues. So if I just jump back again, but this should work on all manner of things, and obviously your picture is going to dictate what colours are in there, but we are going to go with a warm vintagey kind of feel to it. That warmth works with everything. I mean, if we start adding blues in and things, it might not work with every image, but a bit of warmth, always nice, especially in England. We don't have warm colours, so it's nice to have pictures warmed up a very tiny bit. This is where it gets harder, so I'm going to make sure everyone's caught up with me before we carry on, because this is going to add a couple of new skills to your, 2 new skills for you here. So we're going to take our time with this one a little bit more, which is why I rushed to get to it. Both this one and the next one are introducing, so 2 new skills in this one and a third in the people one. So quite a lot to take in. So if everyone just shouts once they've caught up and finished with the black and white New York one, and we will move on and do the settings for this one. The one thing I forgot to mention, everyone, is obviously resetting all your settings before. So if you're doing the same image and just doing the same preset on each one, which is absolutely fine, when you want to reset, we're just going to this little loopy arrow with a line underneath here and just clicking all, so reset all, just in between. So if you do want to just work on the same image, or if you're importing an image every time, obviously we're going plus on the little picture from camera roll, pressing on it and then pressing the tick, so we can. We'll keep going. Have we got everyone ready and up to date? I know George can't talk, so we're going to assume he can. Sally, can you confirm for both of you that you're ready to go now? Because obviously I don't want people playing catch up, because this one gets a little bit more complicated. Right, so I'm going to assume everyone's ready. So have a quick glance at the before and after so we know what we're looking at. There's quite a lot of change in this one. Don't worry, Sally. Whereabouts are you at? Because obviously if I've stopped and carried on, you're not going to be able to see what we've done. Have I left this? I don't want you to miss out on things. Where are you up to? Huh? If it's easier, Sally, if you both work on yours and you can at least see what's going on and save those presets and then copy them later, might be easier. There's a little bit with this next one it's going to need a little bit of understanding. So while all the tools we've used on the last two were settings we'd already used, so everyone was familiar with, I need to kind of show you and explain a couple of these ones. So obviously with this one, it's kind of more important that everyone's paying attention and both all on the same page, so it makes it a little bit easier then.
Can you share presets from one phone to another?
No. No, sorry. So what Jen's just asked is, can you share a preset from one phone to another? No, you can't. You can with Lightroom on a computer, which is really useful. You can pay to download loads of presets and stuff, or you can just create hundreds of your own. If anyone has got Lightroom on a computer, I can happily create these presets for you on that. But the same settings work on everything, so that's easy enough. No, Adobe don't seem to want to do that on a phone for some reason. You couldn't create a preset until this newest version, so this is quite a new thing, so maybe it will come in the future. I hope so, because it would be really useful. But no, so for now you have to copy these settings, so I can happily post all these settings underneath the pictures on the Facebook group later on so everyone can copy them. That's absolutely fine. I'm going to move on. So we're going to create Dubrovnik this time. So we need cameras, make sure you can see. So we're going to go straight down to those optics. I'm going to turn both of the optics on. I'm going to make sure our sharpening is on 40 and 1. Thank you, Ralph. That was a deep snore. And then we're going to go straight up to our exposure tab. We're going to do plus 0.8. It's quite a dull image actually, so that again, this is going to vary on your image. Tell me if that looks way too bright on yours. You don't want to do that exposure so much that you're losing information, that things whites are going too white or anything. So just, it might be a little bit less for you guys, but on that image it's 0.8 for me. Highlights is minus 25. Shadows is plus 25. Whites is plus 40. And blacks is minus 25. I'll give you all a second to copy those, and then we're going to introduce something new. Sorry, I will slow down a little bit. Hopefully you can all see the settings I've done on screen there. Oh, sorry, that was my back, guys. So I assume everyone got the first two. So setting settings we're doing on everything. So that is optics, both on, sharpening at 40%. And then we've just done exposure plus 0.8, highlights minus 25, shadows plus 25, whites plus 40, and blacks minus 25. I feel like I'm announcing football scores. So this next bit is introducing something new to you all. It's a bit of a crazy thing to use. If people have used Photoshop and Lightroom in the past, it will be familiar. It's a bit of a confusing tool to use. On the top of that screen we're on, we can see a curve. So we're going to use this now. Feel free later on to have a play around with it. You can do some mad things with it. What a curve is, if you can see on here, we have a graph. So along the bottom we have blacks, along the side we have whites, even though it doesn't tell us, I know this. What we're doing is altering the relationship between blacks and whites. Just so if anyone wants to understand it, that's as far as I'm going to go with that, okay? I'm just going to show you what we're doing for this image, okay? So we're going to lift this bottom dot. You can see we can happily add dots on this at any point and double tap to get rid of them. So all you can do is change an image by moving this relationship around, and you can get some very weird, very destructive effects. So bottom left dot that's already there, we're going to move up to that next line. So we're going a quarter of the way up there, like so. On the top right, we're going to go halfway between the first and second line. So we're going an eighth of the way down. And all we're going to do is tap an extra point in the middle, and we're going to bring it back to that perfect midpoint there. Oh, that's not perfect. There we go. So what that's done is you've changed from a line which went perfectly diagonal, which meant blacks are blacks, whites are whites. We're going to bring the black point up, so we're lightening our black point to this extra line here. We moved this one down an eighth of the way, so halfway to the quarter there. And we brought the midpoint back to a mid. So we've got kind of a curve just going across the middle there. And what that's done, if we look at before and after, is lightened those shadows and given us that kind of washy look, something that we associate with quite a retro vintagey kind of feel to it. So we can already see that's doing a lot to that image. Gives us something a bit different. Okay, I'm going to leave that up on screen for everyone so you can see, because that's a new thing to use, and it's also quite kind of complicated and funny moving it around, so I'm obviously used to it. So I'll give you all a second. Just leave the curve on screen for you there. What was whites and blacks? It's blacks along the bottom, whites along the left, the side. I don't want to go into too much information on that because it's more complicated than I'm saying. Just for that, so you're looking at, I think what Lisa's asking is that we've got, along this side, we've got a red, green, blue channel, and then separate red, green and blue channels. And the last one, ignore, just leave that. If you're doing this one, it will do all three at the same time. You can do them separately and it's a completely different look, but just stick with this one, okay? We're going to do something with colours in a moment anyway. So this is changing all three of your channels, your colour channels, your red, your green and your blue that make up the white at the same time. Has anyone got any questions with that? Because that is something completely new to you all, well, probably new to you all. There's quite a lot of things in Lightroom and in photography that, you know, you could go into very scientific, technical things, because what we're talking about is the science of light that we really don't want to do right now. One, it's boring. Two, I only 90% understand it. Three, it's too complicated to explain. So we will we'll leave that for a whole nother year. Everyone lets me know you're happy with that and that curve has made sense. It's the only time we're going to touch on that. It's something that in general, if I just show you back to the start, we're going to get very similar effect if we use the black and white, or the contrast that we were using in exposure. But for instance, we could always, we can get quite a nice contrasty look by just putting in a little curve like that. As soon as you start doing so while you're keeping it a soft curve, it'll look more natural. So you can go the other way as well, get a flatter one. As soon as you start making things well, there you go, angular, this is when you're going to start getting slightly weird effects. But for us, we're just going quarter of the way up there, eighth of the way down there, and popping that on the middle. So hopefully that has made sense, and I haven't gone way over everyone's head there, but it is a really useful thing to have in there. You may never touch it again, and just keep this as your preset, and that's absolutely fine. So once we're happy and you've got it looking pretty much the same as what I've got there, we're going to press done. So you can actually look at before and after now. We've done a lot to this image now. Now you might find in some images, if you've got really, really, really dark blacks, this might start to look a little bit messy. As I said, some presets will work better on some photos than others. So this is going to work really well with something with lots of nice pastels in there, lots of different colours, lots of kind of things going on, and actually it kind of softens up an image, makes it a little bit simpler. Wonderful. So we're next going to move down to colours. So you're going to press your colours button. We're going to push that vibrance up a little bit because what we've done is actually softened everything a bit too much. So we're going to go to plus 50. Let's just put all these colours back in. So we've still got a colourful image. So it's still going to work on your holiday photos and still keep that retro vintagey look going on. After we've done the colour, so we've gone plus 50 on vibrance, we've left everything else the same. You might want to do a white balance. So on this, I want to do it over here. Oh no, I don't. That was horrible. So with your white balance, you want to find the most neutral tone you can find. This is not a good image for this. There we go. Got it. And then we just tick it. Here we go. Then we're going to move on to the effects. Again, something everyone's used to. So we're going to do texture minus 20. So this is where we are softening this up. We want to keep that vintagey, retro-y kind of feel going on. Clarity minus 20 as well. So as you can see, if we do zoom in, we do before and after. You can see what we've done then. Let me know how we're getting on. Is everybody keeping up okay? Because we're about to introduce something new again. So I hope I'm not confusing everyone completely. I'll be able to explain this one in a bit more detail than I could the curve. So hopefully everyone, I'll put those settings back up on screen so we can see everything. You missed colours though. There wasn't a huge amount to do in colours. We just went to plus 50 on vibrance, and we just used the little teardropper tool here. Teardropper? Eyedropper tool, that's what I meant. Just to find a neutral tone. So you guys might have images with something with black, grey or white. There you go, Sally. Perfect timing. If it would help, I can quite happily stick around at the end just to go through some questions and things with everyone, if that'd make it easier, just to make sure everyone's caught up, because there's quite a lot to go through. Quite happy to give some one-to-one to help if people need it. Why the white balance? So the white balance is, it's telling the software what part of the image is a neutral colour, and that then tells it what to change all the other colours to make sure you've got colours as you would see them in real life. Otherwise it doesn't know what's white, what's black, what's grey, so it just makes it up for you. So it's just a piece of software doing it by itself, whereas what we want to do is control that and make sure it's right. Now what we do, for instance, in the studio is we have a piece of card that's a perfect grey, and we use the eyedropper on that, and that tells the computer exactly what colour grey is, and it knows what all the other colours are in relation. That's obviously not as simple. You don't carry around a grey card and take photos of it before you take every photo. That's just stupid. So finding something neutral in some there. So quite often it's someone's clothes. Someone's going to have a white t-shirt on. Great, you can just take that eyedropper and stick it on there. Obviously this was a bit harder on this image. These tiles probably actually weren't white, so it's not quite accurate, but it gets us a better judge than what the phone was doing initially. So we just make sure it's right. Texture, where are we? Texture was -20, clarity was -20. So that's given us that really nice soft look. So obviously we had a really high clarity in a couple of the other ones, which gave us that really crisp, sharp edge. So with black and white or with the Amalfi one, I've got a long delay, okay. I've got delay from when you guys see me to you guys typing something, and then before it comes up on my screen, that's all. Yeah, so with the clarity we were creating, and the same with texture, we're creating that really crisp, sharp look to it, which works so well with something a bit more modern. So when we're doing the really punchy Amalfi look, or the really sharp, crisp black and white for New York, that works perfectly. With a more vintage retro feel, it's going to look a lot more realistic if we take that clarity down. Right, so we're going to introduce the new one to you, so hopefully everyone's still on their effects screen. So we're going to click at the top, we have got a button called Split Toning. We're going to click on that, which is going to bring up this window for you. So what this is we have two panels, shadows and highlights. So shadows refer to the darker areas of the image, highlights refer to the lighter areas. And all we are doing with this is putting some colour into those areas. So it automatically does it nice and soft across the whole image and balances it out perfectly. But we're choosing what colour we're going to do. Most colours look really, really weird unless, because they're unnatural. So this can be quite gimmicky. You can feel free to play around with this, more so than curves as well. But all we've got is these graphs. So at the bottom, we have none of the colour. At the top, we have lots of the colour. So I'll show you, let's do it on a really weird colour, let's do it on green. If I do it on green, on the highlights, you will see all the light parts are going to start to go green as I go up. And all the way at the top, all our highlights are green. If I bring that back down to 0, we'll do the same thing in the shadows. We're going to lift it up and we're going to get a Harry Potter-esque feel by making our shadows green. As you can see, all the way at the top is the brightest, most saturated colour. Always going to look the most unnatural. Shadows can look really cool. You can do some really great stuff with that. All we're going to do today is put both of them on kind of a warm yellow, not that high up. Oh, hello. Now be very careful not to go green here. We want to see the orange side of yellow. We want to keep this subtle. There we go, I'm happy with that. Can everybody see where those are? Oh, I'm not, sorry, I've not gone back to that. Hang on, let me see if I can just go full screen for you. There is a way of doing this, I don't remember how. There you go. That's going to make things better, isn't it? Good question. Split toning on iPad is... Let's have a look. Adjustments. It's just at the bottom of the effects tab. So on the iPad, you've got it kind of scrolling up and down on the right. Once you've pressed the down arrow on effects, scroll down, and the split tone is just at the bottom of that, underneath your grain. Has everybody got that? I'm aware, as I said, we are adding new complicated things in here for you to understand. But this is quite a fun one to play with. You can get some really crazy effects. You find quite a lot of movies, like I said, with Harry Potter using green in the shadows. You see that quite a lot. You see sci-fi films will use blue in the shadows quite a lot as well. So this is something you can get some really cool effects with. As I say with every single tool, use in moderation. You know, don't go higher. We have barely gone off the bottom. You can see this S denotes how high we are. We're at 10 and 22 there, so we're really quite low down in it. You go higher, you're going to get really weird looks to it and start to wreck the quality of your pictures as well. But yeah, have some fun with that. But for this preset, we're doing it there. So your numbers, I think you can see, it says H60, S10, H53, S22. So if you can get anywhere close to that, I'll be impressed. If everyone wants to let me know where they're at. As I said, I'm going to give you these settings. I'll type them up and put them on Facebook for you. But these are the bits kind of need to show you. So if everyone just makes sure they've caught up, that would be brilliant. I have got one more massive new bit to do on the next picture. Which bit did you want me to repeat? Right, I'm going to assume, as nobody's saying anything, that everybody is pretty caught up. So once you've done that, let's go back to your two cameras. We're going to press done. And that is saved. So, we finished with the picture. So you can see from the before and after. Before and after. Gives us something really different. Really kind of that soft, pastely, retro-y kind of vibe, but still kept some colour in there. Yeah, this is going to work really well for pictures of food. If you want to get some really cool pictures of your food, this is going to work well. So a great Instagrammable thing. But also just getting a kind of, particularly on VE Day, getting that kind of retro feel could look really, really cool. But it is going to soften everything out a little bit. So on a bright sunny day like that one, you're going to get a different look to it. How do we determine the S and H? If I just go back to split toning for you. The S is up and down, the H is left and right. So it's your hue and your saturation are the two things the H and the S stand for. Feel free to just guess and get it like I've got those circles. That is absolutely fine. As long as you're not going too red or too green. Anywhere in that goldeny orange vibe is going to look good. And different images are going to deal with it differently as well. Right, so we are going to export to camera roll for that picture because we're happy with it. Wonderful. And we're going to use the ... and we're going to create a preset. I'll just let everyone keep up here for a second. So So we're going to press create preset. And now we're going to test everybody's spelling. So this is going to be called Dubrovnik. And as with the others, we're going to put brackets, Rolf. If everyone lets me know, hopefully, we're all at the same point here, and we can move on to the one for people. Right, so I'm just going to click tick, and we have created Dubrovnik Rolf preset. Wonderful. So I would recommend for this next one, we could do with a picture of a person. Ideally with other things in it as well. A selfie is absolutely fine. You managed to come on, do all that, and catch up, Jane. I'm very impressed. That is really good. Right. So we're going to import a picture of a person. So I trust you've all got one in there. And I'm going to use this lovely picture of Jen and Ralph in Snowdonia at the start of the year, because I had to get them in there. Now, so as I said, as we've gone along, in fact, I'm just going to show you the before and after for a second. As we've said, as we've gone along, every preset is going to work, sorry, every image is going to work different with each preset. So you might find you use one on one and it just looks awful. That isn't your fault. That just means that preset isn't suiting that image. Try a different one. I'm sure every picture will suit at least one of these presets. I think this is the one you're all going to use most. I'm going to call it boring in the best way possible. It is a little bit less interesting than the others, a little bit less creative, but it is done to get the most out of pictures of people. Obviously, we do that all the time, so hopefully we know what we're talking about. Everybody has quite high proportions of magentas, reds, purples, yellows, oranges in their skin tones. If we push them too hard, it's going to be horribly unflattering. So you try that Amalfi one on someone in artificial light, looking a little bit red, had a few drinks, they're going to look hideous. I'm sorry, it's just a fact. So what we want to do is flatter the person the best we can. We're not changing anything about them. We're not changing how someone looks. We're just making the most of that image and how they look. So as I said, we do this every day. We should be good at it. So hopefully we can help you do the same with phone pictures all the time. So if I go back to my two cameras, hopefully everyone is caught up with me and has imported a picture using, with a person on it. So first settings, same on all of them as we said. Oh, hold on. As we said, is optics. Turn them. Oh, sorry, I'm going to reset all again just to make sure I haven't got anything set up already. Optics, turn them both on, so they should both be blue. Sharpening 40 and 1. So just make sure we're all on the same page there. And you're all going to have plenty of time to play with this doing homework. So if you just copy what I've got, that'll be perfect. Right, we're going to go to our exposure next. So keeping things simple here. Exposure doesn't need changing on my image. Just make sure yours doesn't. And I clearly got it right in the first place, which is good. We're going to do -20 on highlights. That's just going to bring that sky back into the image a little bit. These will affect those skin tones. So this is going to make a difference to some skin tones, but we are going to counteract that in a little bit. We're going to do +40 on the shadows. This is quite heavy. Jen's wearing black jeans and Ralph's a black dog, so he kind of looks darker in images. So you quite often need to on him. but it's also going to even out exposure on people's skin as well. So if someone's half in the dark or something like that, that should account for that a little bit. Hi, Ralph. Then we're going to go +5 on the white, so very little, just a tiny little bit of contrast, and -5 on the blacks. There you go. So it's very, very simple little bit of settings there. This is just a basic tweak to that. We're going to do some other things first. Okay, so once we've done that, we're going to go back into that curve setting we used before. And do very little. We're going to go about 1/8 of the way up on the left. That is it. We call this a fade, and that was what was on the other one. This is a lot more of a softer fade. It's doing very little. But as you can see, if I do before and after, it's just softening out that image again. So on a picture of a person, that's going to look a lot more natural than if we go back to the Keynote. The one on the left has got that lots of heavier parts in it. And you're particularly going to find this will work quite well on quite harsh sunny images or quite harsh artificial light images where you're getting those heavy blacks in there. We just want to soften them out because it's a lot nicer to look at on people. Right? So that is it. Just 1/8 of the way up with that dot on the left-hand side. Now, hopefully that makes sense because it's similar to what we were doing before. I will give you a second, actually, before I click done. Put it full screen for you. So I won't loiter too much on that because I know we've done it before, so hopefully it should make sense. All right, and we're going to press done. Wonderful. So that's everything on that screen. And if you want to just check your before and after and look at the difference we've done, just a lot more of a natural image. That's all we're doing is making the same image, nothing special, no gimmicks, no effects. We're just making it look a little bit more easier on the eye and working better with people. Okay. Right, I'm going to jump over colour for a minute. We're coming back to that because that's the slightly more complicated one. We're going to jump down to our effects this time. Here we're going to do -10 on texture, -10 on clarity. This is going to just even out a few of those bumps on people's faces. So if you've got one with slightly closer in on your face, it's going to soften things out. Jen is already perfect, but this just makes her even more perfect. Here we go. So particularly nice on, yeah, if somebody's got a few spots, that kind of thing. This isn't going to get rid of them. So they're not going to do anything magical like that. It's just going to disguise them a little bit, which is a nice thing to be able to do. So texture -10, clarity -10. We're leaving everything else alone for this. As I said, we're keeping it a very, very simple image. Yeah, this seems the most boring. Pretty confident you're all going to use this more than any other. Right, I'm pretty sure everyone caught up there because that was quite a simple one. We are going to go and delve into this colours tab very, very deep now. First of all, do your white balance. So pick that eyedropper up, tap on that, bring it down there. That looks pretty. Let's try Jen's jeans instead. There we go. Just find the most neutral area we can. Click tick. Get those colours looking about right. I'm going to do that again. That looks a little bit green. Perfect. Sometimes with the white balance, it might be that you look at the image and you think, do you know what, I don't want to change it. Don't. Sometimes messing with it can make it worse. It's absolutely fine. If you look at it and you think, I like it as it is, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Trust your eye on that one. We're going to bring that vibrance to +10. So we just want to keep a little bit more colour in the image. We're doing very little there. Now, hopefully everyone's with me there. Another new button for you here, top corner, mix. This has got a lot of settings and can go very wrong very quickly. So trust me on what I'm doing here. We're going to touch that mix button. This is changing all your colours separately to different colours, basically. That's what mix is. We are only messing with skin tones here. So I'm going to zoom in. As I said before, everybody has got reds, orange, yellows, pinks, magentas, purples in their skins. Skins? Yeah, we'll go with that. In their skins. What we want to do is just lighten and soften out those colours a little bit, so that on any person, because everyone's like that, you might have the person with the reddest skin anywhere, and this is going to soften it a little bit, to the person with not that red skin, and we're going to soften it, and it's going to look perfect. So it's only going to do so much, but I think this will help with everyone's pictures, just to make that skin tone look a little bit more natural, because photos can quite often make things look unnatural and make things look brighter or more vibrant. If you're in harsh sunlight, your reds in your skin are going to look redder. If you're in artificial light, they're going to look oranger and blotchier. So we're just softening all that out. So this is me just telling you some direct settings, change them to exactly the same as me, and we should be all right. I probably wouldn't mess further than that. So red, first channel, it's got a little dot in it. That's the one we're working on. We're going to go to -11 saturation. Again, hopefully you can land on that. And +5 luminance. So luminance is how light that colour is. So we're lightening the reds. So I'm going to go to +15 luminance. There we go. iPad, where are you? It's pretty much the same, I'm sure it is. Colour, yeah, it doesn't say mix, it's just got the colour wheel on it. You're just clicking on that. It's in the same place though. Right, and so once we've done those reds, we're going to move on to oranges. In the oranges, we're going to do -5 saturation. And +10 luminance. Okay, so -5 of that saturation, +10 on luminance. I can jump back on these, but I'm going to keep going. Yellow. Saturation, -5, so not doing much. But what we want to do is, by doing all of them, we're affecting, or all of the skin tone kind of colours, we're not ending up with some changed and others not. So it's a bit more of an even bit of changing. So after we've done yellow, we're going to jump over to purple, because generally these three colours in the middle aren't in skin tones, so we don't want to mess with them. So purple, so if everyone can see, second to the end with the white dot in it, -10 saturation. Got it straight away, there we go. So I've zoomed in on Jen's face, I'm sure she doesn't mind, but this is just so you can see what it's affecting a little bit. It is going to affect her scarf and her hat and her backpack, but I don't think you're going to notice. I don't think it's going to matter. I'm sure if someone's wearing a United shirt, they're going to get upset that the reds aren't looking right, but get over it, your face looks better. Right then, once we've done purple, we're going to move on to the last one, which is pink. In the end, again, lots of pinks in skin tones, so we're going to go -11 saturation again. There we go. And +10 luminance. So what these are doing is lightening and desaturating. So desaturating means removing the colour. Lightening and desaturating every single pixel of that colour in this image. So we've done it for 5 different colours. So quite a lot of different colours of the image we're editing. But if you just touch before and after, and just look, it should have just softened out the colours in that skin tone. You know, we're not changing anything particularly, we're just making the most of it. Bringing out the best in someone. No extra luminance on purple and yellow. There's a lot less purple and yellow in skin tones, so we're leaving that alone. We don't need to lighten them, because we're going to start affecting a lot more of the rest of the image. If I start lightening the yellows in that image, if I just bring it back up, we're going to start messing with those greens in the background, which have got yellows in and things like that. and Jen's hair is going to start going lighter and things like that. So we don't want to mess too much. This is all about being subtle, keeping things nice and even and equal. So does anyone need me to click back on, I'm not on screen, does anyone need me to click back on any of the colours on here just so you can refresh which ones you had? In fact, I can go that for you. Oh, I'm talking too much, I need a drink. Excuse me, guys. Quite happy to go back over things here, guys. I know I'm packing a lot of information in here for you. Has everybody pressed before and after on their images just to look at what they've done? It's always good to understand and see what you've done. So just checking that before and after. So as I said, you may need to change the exposure on yours. That's absolutely fine. If you want to go over to your exposure tab once you're done and tweak it a little bit, it might make a difference. It's probably the main thing when you use these on other images. You may set them and they look really weird, but if you adjust your exposure, they might be right. So just have a little play with that. So once everyone's done there, we're just going to press, I'm going to press done. And we're done. So as I said, it might be that you want to just adjust it a little bit. That image was always right, so that's always a good start. Right, once we're done, everyone remember what we're to do next. Export to camera roll. It took ages. And then we're going to create the preset. To create a preset, we are just going to call this one People Rolf. Okay. Nice and easy to remember, but I genuinely believe you'll all use this loads and loads of times. And it's one of these, it's an edit that someone's never going to comment and look at it and go, oh, you've edited that really well. You're just doing a job silently and well. I wouldn't, the other ones are possibly going to make some more jaws drop on certain pictures and be a little bit more impactful, but for these ones, I think you'll find you'll be very happy with these, even if it's just a case of a picture of the kids and you want to print it, send it off somewhere and get it printed. I just think this will just make the most out of it that little bit better. Everyone will be a bit happy with how they look in the pictures. No horrible red skin tones, which does happen, particularly in prints. So hopefully everyone will be happy. Right, so we're going to save that. So I'm just going to hit the tick. Now, when you go to your presets button, so if anyone can remember, this is your presets button. I've saved everything twice now because I did them yesterday and today. You should all have a little set of presets. So four plus whatever you'd already done. All the ones with Rolf on are obviously the ones we worked on. If everyone could just confirm to me they've got all 4 of those in there before we finish, that would be amazing. So as you can see as well, the presets panel is brilliant because it will give you a preview of what that image is going to look like before it does, before you're finished. Is everybody else caught up? Fab. Jane, Mum, Lisa. Oh, Lisa's there. Is Emma still about as well? Right, I'm going to assume everyone did that because we've run over already. Wonderful. So hopefully, yeah, everyone's got something they're really happy with there. Oh yeah, I've packed a lot of information in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick around for an extra 5 minutes after I've been through homework and stuff. So please ask away. I'd rather you were happy and you left with all the information you needed, but I will put up all those settings on Facebook in a little bit for you. Right then, where are we? So, homework. So, for this week, we're going to shoot and edit 4 new images. So, I want all 4 of them to be new. So it's 1 for each of those presets, and you're going to send them in to us before Monday evening at 6. Obviously, hopefully you will adjust those presets to be perfect for your image, and hopefully you'll shoot an image which is perfect for that preset as well. So as I said before, different images are going to work differently. You know, that Amalfi one's probably going to be absolutely horrible on pictures of people, but you're going to get some really cool ones, especially with all the Union Jacks and stuff around. Which brings me on to, I would like 2 of the 4 images to be VE Day themed. We're going to start bringing some more themes and challenges and projects into the homework now. So it's going to be less technical based, more inspiration based going forward. So this is kind of the start of that. I'll go into that a bit more on Tuesday. So we've got 2 VE Day themed, 4 images, all new, all 1 per preset. So you should have an Amalfi, a Dubrovnik, a New York, and a people one. Again, I think we're going to post that on the group because that makes it simpler. Is that all right?
It's not.
The homework.
Oh yeah.
Shows she's listening.
Where?
Working, all right, whatever. Yeah, so I mean, quite. By the way, the 2 VE Day themes. That's a minimum. If all 4 of them are the VE Day theme, we'll be very, very happy. But yeah, while we're doing that, what's everyone doing for VE Day? What's the plan? Is everyone barbecuing? Is people having afternoon tea? Are people having garden parties with very few people at them? Are we getting dressed up? Talk to me. I hope what we've done today is created a little kind of basic setup for you, so you can all go into Lightroom with a picture and very quickly edit something without having to delve too deep into settings. You know, if you've forgotten what something does, you've already got a preset there that works. Yes, Mum, so you're going to do 1 picture per preset. So you should have, or use all 4 in your homework. So Sally and George are having a garden party with afternoon tea. Sounds lovely. Bunting up, kids helping make a Victoria sponge lake. Oh, that's a lovely idea. Yeah, so Jen made... Oh. Cropped it out, that's not on. Jen made our lovely bunting earlier. I'm sure you can see. Yeah, it's all we've got. Everything else is packed away, so we've struggled to have too much there, but the bunting was in the window. And I think we're having some kind of barbecue, although not that we've got coals. We've got some wood. We'll have an open fire barbecue. And we'll have an afternoon tea as well. Oh, lovely. That was what our delivery was. We were on boozy afternoon tea, I take it. Nice. That sounds good. Did everybody get the homework all right? Has that made sense? Can I have my notes, please? Oh, are you still writing?
No, just doing it.
I'll sit and type up the all settings for everyone afterwards. Oh, I don't want that screen. That's boring. Let's go back to the... Barbecue for 2. Yeah, I think... I'm not sure we've worked out what we're doing on the barbecue yet. I agree, Sally. I think we've got Prosecco, cakes, sandwiches. Jen ordered them in from somewhere as a surprise for me, so that's going to be nice. Right, so I assume everyone's got the homework, all got their presets saved, know what they're doing. I'm going to stick around for 2 or 3 minutes just to answer some questions, so if anyone wants to catch up on anything, ask away now. But everyone else, thank you very much for joining in. We will see you on Tuesday, so get your homework to me by Monday at 6 PM. And we'll see you all Tuesday morning. I'll introduce what we're going to do going forward. Thanks everyone, goodbye. And I'll stick around for a couple of minutes if anyone needs anything. Do you want to come up, Ralph? Come here. Come here, Sleepy. No, don't go all limp. Oh, you're awkward. Say hi, Ralph. You're so dozy. Yeah, I know you're dopey. I'm going to take you for too long a walk yesterday. You don't want one, do you, today? Oh, look at that face. Look at that face. Does anyone have any questions? Am I sticking around for nothing here? Biscuits. Oh God, he's gone. Shall we hold you like a baby? You're blocking my microphone, Ralph. Don't hold on to it. Zoe's just sticking around to say hi to you, Ralph. She's not interested in any questions or anything I've got to say. Is everyone else happy? I assume we've lost everyone now. Oh no. Okay. Aw, he's missing you too, Zoe. I think he's missing people, full stop. He's a bit fed up of us. He's going to sleep. I take it everyone else is happy. Don't need to go over anything, which is good. Means we've got all the settings across okay, but I'm going to post them anyway. Right, I'm going to go because Ralph's hitting my back. Yeah, I know. Pop you down. I'm covered in hair. Right, guys. Yes, I thought everyone would find the person one really useful. I think everyone's going to want to use the first 3 more to start with, and then use the 4th one. Loads and loads and loads. Just every picture. Right, Mum and Zoe, I'll meet you later. Everyone else, thank you very much. We will see you on Tuesday. Bye.
Bye.